Hello, everybody. This is Teen Title Talk with Erin
and Courtney,
This is the podcast.
where two librarians discuss two YA books every 2 weeks.
Today we'll be chatting about My Riot by Rick Spears and Emmett Helen.
And Raybearer by Jordan Ifueko.
But before we do that, we need to dip into the jar of teen angst. So, Court, I have a question about, we've kind of covered snow, but what was your ideal snow day like? You know school's not happening. What's the plan?
I think there's nothing more glorious. I mean, they don't even have snow days anymore because now that remote school.
The blizzard bags.
The blizzard bags, people can go online. So, like, that magic is gone. But there was nothing more wonderful than, like, waking up to the sound of shovels.
Oh, I was going to say the snowplow.
Grinding
down the road.
Hearing the, like, snowplow rumble by, or, like, hearing outside just, like, that scrape of the shovel. And you're like, oh, could it be? Yeah. And you're like, still a little dark outside, and you're run downstairs, turn on the radio, or like turn on the TV to be like, is it true? And then it is true. And I think, wow, what a glorious feeling. Like, that doesn't happen when you're a grown-up, mostly.
No, that's true.
Sometimes it does. Library it does, though.
Sometimes it does, but I don't have the same feeling because another responsibility is looming.
Yeah, true.
Usually, and that's being a parent all day.
It's true. You can't just like lay in bed and play video games all day.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I guess my ideal snow day would be like stay in bed for a little bit longer.
Yes.
Like just hop back in, stay in those jammies, rest until a little bit longer, and then take my time at breakfast. Not feel like I have to rush, eat a big old bowl of Lucky Charms.
I was waiting for that.
And then
Lucky Charms.
Just like watch TV.
Okay.
And if I was at my house and I'm in high school and say I'm like home alone, what would I do? I would turn on trashy daytime television.
Okay.
Like Maury Povich. I would watch Sally Jesse Raphael.
Okay,
gotcha. I would watch Jerry Springer.
Mm-hmm.
Judge Judy, some of those court shows, those are good. So I would have watched some of that. And since this was teenager times, I probably would have also watched a little MTV.
Love it.
Which would have had some shows on, something dumb, some music videos, whatever.
Yes.
And then probably would have played a little PlayStation.
Okay.
And then gone outside and probably done a little bit of sledding. And then probably
sledding in there.
Shoveling, because let's face it, your parents make you shovel.
I never had to shovel.
What?
My dad shovel.
You never had to shovel?
No.
Just because your dad shoveled?
Yeah. You know what's funny is like I also have never mowed the lawn. Do you mow
what?
I don't know.
Wow,
yeah.
What a privileged
life.
life.
I know. My dad mowed the lawn. And now Jason snow blows the driveway and also mows the lawn.
Well, I'll tell you, I've never used a snowblower.
So I said, why don't we just go over the snowblower? Because that is like totally something I can do. And then he was just like, okay. And then it never happened. So now I still don't snowblow.
I mean, in my mind,
it can't be that hard. I think you just fire it up and start walking with it.
That's I'm like, I feel like it's exactly like a lawnmower, except it just throws snow instead of cuts grass.
The problem with the lawnmower was it was that crank when it was old and it was hard to get started. So it's not like I could have easily gotten that going.
You should have seen me out there last summer. That's exactly what mine was like. And I looked like a fool because I kept like,
I'm sure you looked amazing,
pulling on the chain and nothing would happen. And it turns out it was broken.
No. Oh,
I looked like such a crazy person out there. Like, look at that little weakling lady who can't turn on the lawnmower. And I was like, no, I swear there's something wrong with it.
Well, good for you for working on it, Court.
Well, I had to mow the lawn as a child and shovel.
Got it.
Take out the trash.
Yeah, I didn't
Maybe it's
really.
because I'm the oldest.
Did your siblings have to?
Yeah, they had to do that stuff too, but I was the first one to come around, and
I
my
mean,
parents were equal opportunity
right.
chore givers. It wasn't
Sure.
like
That's
you're a
good.
girl, so you can't do these things. Well, you in your family, you didn't even have that option because you only had girls.
No, yeah, it wasn't about that. I don't know. Or maybe I didn't do it, but others did. I might have been in my own world. I don't know.
All the other children were
I
slaving away.
don't think so. Like we had other tasks. We had like dish night, I guess. We had to clean up around the house and stuff. I didn't shovel.
Well, lucky you.
It was a long driveway too. I shoveled a little, but no, not really, not much.
Shoveling stinks. I hate it.
No, it's not my favorite.
Although sometimes if it's at night, all the world is so quiet and it's just like you and the shovel and you're out there and the stars are twinkling and it can be magical.
Yeah, I feel like the magical part of that was not the shoveling.
No, the shoveling is the horrible part of it, but it gets you out there where otherwise you might stay in.
No, you could just go look at the stars, but then leave the shovel inside. So also it's not waking the neighbors because you know how loud it is?
It's extremely loud. It's just like, it's so loud. You can hear it. It feels like miles away.
Long way away. Yeah. So my ideal snow day is like, it would have been definitely a sleeping in, just like yours. Tea, blanket, book.
Oh, yeah.
And then probably some movies, but I didn't have like TV. Remember how I didn't have like TV unless I was going to watch like Price is Right or something.
Oh, I watched that. I wasn't above Price is Right.
I might have watched that, but then also get the VHS tapes out.
Oh, sure.
Watch some movies.
Yep. What would be your movie of choice?
In high school?
Yeah.
Newsies.
Good choice.
For a minute, I was gonna lie. Then I was like, I just have to say,
there's no point in lying because
Why?
Christian Bale pretending to ride on a horse
Probably.
during that one scene is worth it all.
It was so great. Yeah.
Oh man, that's such a great
Or
movie.
Dead Poet Society. I could go with either.
That's very you.
Yeah, I know. All right, next question. Do I have another? Oh yeah. Tell me about school. Which class did you like the most and what were you most nervous about?
I loved English the most.
Okay, easy. Yep.
100%. Loved to read all the books. I read all the books that were like Pete is like, I don't think I ever read a single book for English. I'm like, how did you get through? Also, they're fun. That's like fun homework. And he's like, that's not fun for me. And I was like, oh.
What?
Wow. Weird. And let's see, my most nervous, definitely trigonometry.
Okay, gotcha.
I was not good at it. I didn't understand it. I had a very kind teacher who tried, and I would stay after school to get extra help, but I still like skated by with a D at the end of the semester.
Gotcha. All right, I would have chose, well, English, yeah, definitely. Creative writing was my favorite. And I did get to do that senior year. There was a creative writing class. And then, but see, I wasn't good with the math, but also I wasn't nervous about it. I was either a cheater or I was ignoring everything.
Well, I did do a little bit cheating.
But I think that I was nervous about metal shop.
Oh, I didn't take that.
You didn't, was it not mandatory?
No, I was discouraged from taking welding.
Oh, okay. Because the welding was the part that I was about to mention. Like,
I wanted to take it. And my guidance counselor in 9th grade was like, are you sure? You're going to be the only girl.
So what, Court?
And because I'm 12-year-old, 13-year-old me,
like, all right.
I was like, oh, okay, I guess I shouldn't do it. So I never did it.
We had to, and most of it was fine, and I enjoyed wood shop, but metal shop made me a little more nervous because of the welding. So the wood shop was
wear one of those crazy masks.
Yeah, and but it wasn't like a lot of welding. There was just like one lesson and one project with welding, but it was still enough to make me like,
oh, yeah. Well, my school was like a
Agricultural?
Yeah, it was a vocational high school. So
Right.
like it had like one track was like college prep, and
I
then the
gotcha.
other
Yeah.
track was like you can do all these job readiness things.
Okay.
And so my foray into the vocational wing was early child development. So
Got it.
I worked in the preschool that there was on campus.
That is so interesting because that is not an experience I had at all in rural Vermont, where it's a regional high school. It was like, this is your track. It's the same track as everybody else.
It's kind of I wish I had gotten out of my comfort zone because I was like, oh, I'm probably gonna be a teacher. What else can you do as an English person?
Okay.
And so like that was sort of where I had led myself, but like I didn't like it.
I
So
gotcha.
after the first year, it's a 2-year program, and after the first year, I was like, no, I'm done.
Yeah.
Which led me to have a lot of extra time my senior year. So I took AP English, which was also a 2-class period like block, and it was
Okay.
awesome. Oh,
Yeah.
it was so much fun. But like I could have taken large animal tech and like hung out with cows and
That
horses
would
all
be
day.
cool. That'd be incredible.
It would have been awesome, but we made fun of those kids.
Oh, yeah. Hmm.
We were like, farmers, that's lame. And meanwhile, we live in the middle of this area where there's a farm program at our school. So obviously it's not that
Obviously,
weird.
they did very well. I'm sure they did very well.
Yes. And I could have taken, well, we called it florastry, but it's actually called, I think, horticulture.
Okay.
And I could have learned how to design beautiful flower arrangements.
What on earth?
I
This
know.
is a real class that this happened for real?
Yes, because it was preparing people to open their own like flower shop business.
Oh my God. What?
And I could have worked at the school store, and the accounting track was the bank, and I could have worked at the restaurant. But I
Wow.
didn't do any of those cool things. I just watched 3-year-olds and wanted to pull my hair out.
Well, that is frustrating.
But
But
anyway,
now you work at the library.
huge
And good
digression.
place.
There was no intro to library class. Go figure.
Interesting. I
Go
wonder if there is
figure.
now. Well, speaking of libraries, let's talk about books. Tell me
Yes.
about Raybearer.
I would love to talk about this book, and I will talk about it forever if you let me.
Yes.
So anyway, if you love magic, if you love a rightful heir storyline,
Okay.
if you are into girl power,
Mm-hmm.
and you love some really great, solid world building, then this is the story for you.
This is a go. Okay.
I saw someone on Twitter be like, hey people, why are we still recommending Harry Potter to people when there's all these other wonderful, magical,
Tons of great fantasy.
non-Eurocentric worlds to discover? And like
Yes.
this is that.
Awesome.
So Jordan Ifueko is the author, and she describes the book like this. It's her elevator pitch.
Okay.
In a global empire, a love-starved black prodigy is coerced by her mother to join a divine crown prince's council. Her mission? Earn his trust, swear her love and loyalty, and to her horror, kill him.
What?
I know.
Oh.
So Raybearer is the story of Tarisai, and when we first meet her, she's 11, but for most of the story, she's a teen who has been raised by a woman that we know only as the lady. And she was raised in total isolation from other children and really from most other people. The people who worked in her house weren't even allowed to touch her.
Okay.
Because she had this like special ability to see people's memories.
Cool.
So she is sent by the lady when she's 11 years old to the capital city to vie for a place in the children's palace to be a permanent lifelong companion to the prince and a member of his royal council, which is like a lifelong blood bond.
Huh.
She has no idea of anything. Like all the other kids who are there as like nominees are like have been training for this their whole life, and she's like, I have no idea what's going on, and I've never even met another child, and I don't even have a healthy family because my mother is only here 1 week a year. So it's all very confusing, and she's totally scared, she's totally lost, but She comes to love Dio, who is the prince, and all the other children. It's the family she never had. But the lady's plan is
Oh no.
not great. And she, we see Tarisai struggle to distance herself from the lady's dark plan and form a purpose of her own. No longer a puppet, but a fully formed young woman with complete agency.
Ooh, it sounds really cool.
It's like, I could not put it down.
Okay,
It was
awesome.
so good.
So what did you like about it? Or in this case, love?
All of it, everything. I thought it was so well paced. Everything is revealed at just the right time, like building up to a really triumphant but super bittersweet climactic moment.
Mm-hmm.
I am so relieved there's going to be a second one.
Oh, cool.
It's already been whatevered.
Right. It's been bought. It's in the works.
It's in the works. I'm
Good.
so excited. But mostly I think I really like the truth in Tarisai and the lady's very tumultuous relationship. The lady is an emotionally abusive mother figure, spying, manipulating, gaslighting. She never even calls Tarisai by her name her whole life. She only calls her maid of me.
Ugh.
Yes. And so when we learn about how Tarisai was conceived, the lady's story gets even worse.
Oh,
like,
God. Okay.
It's not great. And actually, trigger warning, rape is involved.
Okay.
So, but still, Tarisai, even when she knows this about her mother, feels fidelity toward her mother because she's the only mother she's ever known.
Sure.
And
That feels
you
real.
have this constant tug of war throughout the whole book between wanting freedom, wanting to get out of her mother's shadow, wanting to be her own person, and still feeling loyalty to her mother, wanting to protect her, desiring so much to be loved and accepted by her. So much of what she does throughout the book is like almost like proving herself to her mother, like, you didn't waste all this effort on me. Like, I'm going to show you that I'm worthy of love. And so it felt very real to me, that sort of emotionally abusive relationship with the parent.
Absolutely.
And how she be her own person. It was really good.
Interesting. All right. Did you dislike anything?
So I listened to this and read it so that I could get through it faster because I just like couldn't put it down. I borrowed the audiobook and the ebook using Hoopla.
Okay.
And mostly I really enjoyed the audiobook, except the narrator gives this lisp to one of the characters.
Okay.
Which I found very distracting, only because it was not constant.
Okay.
So it seemed inconsistent. Some S's she lisped, lots of them she didn't for this one character. It just pulled me out of the story, and I would be like, what? It is possible that the character is described as having a lisp and I like missed it, and that's fine and cool. It's great to have a lisp, but the narrator herself naturally does not have one, and so like the inconsistency I found like a little bit jarring.
Sure.
But as far as the book itself is concerned, like I can't even think of one dislike. I saw someone on, so mostly it almost gets like totally 5 stars on Goodreads by all the people who have read it, and it gets rave reviews everywhere. But I saw like one 1-star review that was like, everybody's portrayed stereotypically. I knew exactly where all these cultures came from. What? It was so boring and pretentious. And I was like,
you're wrong.
You're wrong. Everyone disagrees with you. You're wrong. So I don't know. I'll talk about more later. Okay.
It's interesting that people, bring their own perspective, and some people will be like, oh, this is groundbreaking, and other people will be like, oh, this just paints people into boxes, and you're like, what on earth? No.
Yeah, you can tell that she's trying really hard not even trying really hard. It seems effortless, but like there was an intent there to make it, I think, intersectional, and it is great.
Oh, cool. So what's special about the title?
I think what makes this special is that it's this incredible, magical, just really well-constructed story with very believable characters, despite, the fact that they have magical abilities and the ray is like a way for them to telepathically communicate.
Mm-hmm.
But I think what adds to that specialness is that it's inspired by West African culture.
Cool.
The fabrics, the clothes,
Mm-hmm.
and it's really a celebration of the beauty that is found there. Ifueko's parents are from Nigeria.
Nice.
She's American, but she was raised in a really conservative evangelical Christian home.
Okay.
And so I think both of those like different influences can be seen in the book. She does a lot of she has to build mythologies for all of these different cultures that exist in the book.
Right.
And so I think sort of her immersion in that as a kid really helped ground the mythologies that are created in the book. And then obviously just like all that West African, like, I mean, she goes into detail about all these beautiful fabrics, and some of them, like, she's like, it was so fine that it seemed like it couldn't even be made by human hands. And you're just like, oh, I want to see it. I want to like feel it. And so, yeah, it was really great.
Like that special level of detail when you are able to write about something really well. It is different than someone doing research on it and then trying to explain it. It just has a whole different, it's just a whole different experience.
Totally. So. And I will add, so I read a really short interview with her, and somebody mentioned, like, was it hard to write this book or whatever? Mm-hmm. And she was like, a lot of it came really easily to me, but the first time I wrote it, like my first draft of it, it came out very Eurocentric because that's the culture that we're steeped in here in America. Right. And she's like, had to conscientiously try and center that Black experience, which I think is such a wonderful just flavor, I guess. Like, it just is such a great perspective.
Absolutely. That sounds really cool. I'm going to check it out. So that's called Raybearer.
Yes, Raybearer.
And it's the start of a trilogy or a series or a duology?
I don't know, actually. Okay. All I know is that there's a second one on the way, and I'm not sure what's going to happen after that.
I got it. Sounds great.
Yes. And so you read a graphic novel this time.
I did. So after like awards season, I was like, I just need something fast and fun.
For sure.
And that's what I got. So
great.
So my Riot, it's by Rick Spears and Emmett, Helen. It's this 90s love and punk rock girl band graphic novel I did not know I needed until I read it.
The 90s.
Yes, it was so great. It begins with this girl, Val. She's training to be a ballerina. It's in this horrible ballet school that tells her she's fat at 150 pounds. No. I know, which is probably realistic. But so she's like trying to lose the weight, and she starts smoking cigarettes to get thinner. Mm-hmm. And she's kind of going down this really toxic road of food eating disorders. And soon she meets Kat. And there's like this incident that brings them together, and Kat invites her to this concert. So they go to it, and then they love it. And just feeling inspired, Val kind of thinks she wants to like play some music of her own. So she asks this guy, Jake, who's in the band, if she can borrow a guitar. And he says, okay. She starts playing, and she's pretty quick with it. And she gets really good at it really quickly.
She's living my dream. I always wanted to do the guitar.
So then Val and Kat and eventually Rudy start an all-girl punk rock band. Rudy. And they ironically name themselves the Proper Ladies. Oh. And then they start doing like when you're before the band, what's it called?
Opening?
Yeah. They open for the guys that she borrowed the guitar from. Mm-hmm. And pretty soon they go on like this small tour, and she like lies to her parents about where she is. Of course. But then it's great because she then comes back and she realizes how much she loves like the punk rock scene, and she quits ballet, and they head out and they're like bucking the norms, playing music, getting in fights. I loved it.
Whoa, they're getting in fights.
Not like a lot, but a couple. And it felt so alive. And
mm-hmm. That is awesome. So it sounds like there's a lot to like. What did you like?
I loved the characters. They were so well developed and realistic. Honestly, I thought it read as memoir because there was so much detail to the characters. And that was definitely my favorite part. The when a character is that clearly defined, I think it's hard not to connect, right?
Yes.
And so for me, when I'm reading, it's, you know, you're just going along with the character and it's like experiencing it the same way. So it was just fun and exhilarating to go on the path with her, from like quitting ballet. When she told off the ballet teacher, I was cheering. I was so excited. And there was this body acceptance at the same time, and I just loved that. And then she joined the world of punk rock, and it just, you know, you kind of feel a little punk rock, which is great.
Is great.
It just,
I love that idea of someone just like finding their niche.
Yes, in feeling free. There was definitely a sense of bucking the norm and feeling free, and it felt lovely to read.
That sounds awesome. Was there anything you didn't like?
Not really, no.
I
was delighted to read it. It made me feel young.
Oh, we're so old. It made me feel young again.
But not that. I'm not that young. It had Empire Records vibes. I think that's why maybe I loved it. It just, there was something about it, like you're around kind of on the indie scene and doing something really you're passionate about and a lot of control.
Yes.
I love
working at the record store.
Yeah, working at the record store. You got some misfits with you. It was
fun. Oh man, that sounds awesome. Can we go back in time?
No.
I know.
Well, we don't want to.
Okay.
Because
if you say so.
Maybe we do, but I don't know. I don't think we do.
Yeah, only like for I wouldn't want to do it forever, but maybe just like a couple of days.
Okay, gotcha. To relive the 90s.
Yeah, just for a moment. Is there anything special about this title we should know about?
I have to say, I don't read a ton of graphic novels that are written today that are about the 90s, much less music from the 90s. So I am sure I liked it because it felt a bit familiar, but I think the teen angst and the desire to buck expectations will totally resonate with today's teens.
I think the 90s are cool again too, right now.
Oh, maybe. Is that a thing?
I think that's a thing.
Okay. So I love that it took place in the 90s. I think that's really special that it inhabits that space while also carrying over these themes that can be connected with the day. And it's also just a very well illustrated and well written, fast read. So you can gobble it up really fast. It's great. You're going to love it. Lots to love.
I'll probably check it out because they are graphic novels are just such a fun treat for your eyes.
It is. And also this one just, it had like some nice passion to it.
It sounds really fun. Maybe it's enough to give me a boost in my life.
Yes. I needed something like fun and quick, and it gave me that. It was perfect.
That's perfect.
All right, let's talk about book buzz. See anything fun happening in the book world? I want to point out that the book awards happened.
Yes, I got 800,000 emails about it from every publisher that I get.
Things, but I am just going to point out that All 13 was robbed of the Elsa Excellence in Nonfiction Award right off the bat. But you read the Lindbergh one. The Lindbergh one is the one that took the took the cake.
I did read the Lindbergh one, and I honestly, I don't want to say I'm surprised, but I'm a little surprised. Just because honestly only got 70% of the way through. So maybe it just leads up to some of this great moment.
Oh, I'm sure.
I was just like, compared to the other one I read.
You like the other one better, the cat one.
The cat one, I feel like the cat one is a story we have not heard.
Yeah,
I have heard Charles Lindbergh's story in some degree.
I know.
I heard about his missing baby. He's had movies made about him, whatever. Like, is this a new angle? Yes. Plus it's for YA. Okay. Sure. It was well written. Yes. So I felt like the cat one, I had not heard that story ever.
Right.
You know?
And All 13.
All 13, hadn't heard that story except for in the news.
Exhilarating. Well written, beautifully crafted. I'm just saying, I think it was rough. Anyway,
it's fine. Fair enough. So, okay. So, Netflix is partnering with author Ibram X. Kendi to produce 3 new projects based on his recent anti-racism works, including one for Anti-Racist Baby, which was honestly surprised to see.
Yes, is it because that's so brief, right?
It's extremely brief and it's very cartoonish. So I'm like, is this gonna be like a little cartoon for kids?
I think it's gonna be like a little animated, cool.
And I'm very much here for it. So I'm excited about that. And everybody's new favorite poet, Amanda Gorman. She's phenomenal. We'll be reading her poetry at the Super Bowl.
I love that. Has there been a poet at the Super Bowl before?
I don't think so. And I think it's amazing, like, way to bring the arts to the forefront. Like, music is also arts and it's always music, but like, this is a different way. It's more literature. And I think it's very cool. And actually on her Instagram post, she was saying that she had already been in talks with the Super Bowl people before the inauguration. So like they were planning on having her before the inauguration even happened.
That's really great. Awesome.
Yeah. So it's cool. She wrote, I think, special poem.
I know.
For the occasion.
I cannot wait. I mean, I don't tune into the Super Bowl, but
I don't even at all care about the Super Bowl, except that I love chips and dip. Like that's the only thing I like about the Super Bowl.
I like apps. So that could be apps and the halftime show.
Yes. As soon as I get my gallbladder out, I am all about eating chips and dip again.
Is this happening?
It's happening.
Oh my God.
Happening in 2 weeks.
Oh my God. All right.
I can't wait. My life is very really stupid with gallbladder problems.
Oh my God.
But also her children's book is available for pre-order. It is called Change Sings. It's coming out this September and you can buy it.
I'm so excited, but I want there to be like a mini audiobook or something because I want to be able to hear her read it too.
I know. I'm sure there's got to be a little audio component.
I hope so.
Right?
Yeah. All right, let's see. I had Everything Said is Untrue, a true story, Took the Prince. That one's by Danielle Neri, and it's autobiographical, and it's about Daniel's middle school years where Daniel, formerly named Khosrow, which I've probably mispronounced, tells his unimpressed and at times cruel classmates about his experience as an Iranian refugee. I did not have this one on my radar until very recently. It came out in August. And it jumped right to the top for the Prince, and I'm really excited about it. And it also jumped to the top of my to-be-read pile.
Ditto. I just clicked on it on Goodreads.
I'm excited. It looks amazing. Gorgeous cover, really intriguing sounding. So, it should be good. Tracy Chee did get an honor for her historical fiction novel about Japanese internment, We Are Not Free. So she got an honor for the Prince, which I think is good. Like I
thought she was the contender.
Yeah. We did talk about it during our Prince contender lineup there. So also Kekla Magoon won the Margaret E. Edwards Award, which is an award given for significant and lasting contribution to young adult literature. And in case you haven't read any of her books, Kekla has written many award-winning novels such as The Rock and the River, How It Went Down, and The Season of Styx Malone. So she's this fabulous author. She's a faculty member at the Vermont College of Fine Arts. I happen to know her. No big deal.
You know everyone. It's the Vermont connection. And
she's super smart. She's very consistent. And she's just like a pro. And I just love listening to her, both her craft talks and pretty much anything she does. I'm like totally on board for and excited.
Okay, you know all these people. Can you get us a guest?
Sure.
It would be fun to have a special.
Just shake up our format. It would be fun.
No, not every week, but maybe just every once in a while.
Okay, that would be fun. Yeah. I'll look into that. All right.
No, yeah, whatever.
We'll do it. All right, that's a wrap on today's podcast. Did you know that you can now listen to us on Pandora and Alexa and pretty much wherever you get your podcasts? Wherever you are listening, thanks so much for joining us. And don't forget to drop us a line at any time, really anytime. Our inbox is open. Email at teentitletalk@gmail.com.
Thank you for joining us for Teen Title Talk. This podcast is brought to you by the Derry Public Library and Derry-CAM, Derry Community Access Media, empowering independent voices. Wherever you're listening, if you enjoyed it, rate it and review it.
Thank you.
Bye.